I
Okay.
don't have.
All right, it's being recorded. All right, Shelley's there. I'm going to let her in. So hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you again, Claire.
Oh yeah, nice to see everybody.
This
And
is my husband, Mark. Hello.
okay, so there's David, Amy, and who else is coming in? All right, so I have 7 so far. So I have Anne, Shelley, Alan, David, Amy, and Carol.
And Mark.
Okay. Oh, there's Alan. Okay. And who'd you say, Lois?
Mark, just Carol's husband, Mark.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right. All right. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm getting any more people. Let's see who responded to me.
It's still 2 minutes till, so there's still a couple more minutes. that
Yeah,
people-
I should get Christine and Tanya.
The problem, right?
And I think the cooks too.
Okay.
So, hello, everybody.
Hi.
I'm Claire, if you haven't met me before, and Lois is the other person who was involved in the tour, Lois Moss, and she is joining us from Seattle.
Portland.
Oh,
Either.
Portland. I had Seattle in my brain because I'm going to see her in Seattle very shortly.
Yeah.
So anyway, Lois is going to be doing most of the talking because she has been to Japan several times. I have never been. And so she will have a lot of answers to your questions, and I hope you do have questions.
Oh.
Oh, what was that?
A cat? Somebody have a cat?
A cat. Okay.
It's us here.
Okay.
Do I need that video? Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. So can everybody hear me? Just put up your hand if you nod, or put up your hand, or if you can hear. Good. And if you can unmute yourself if you want. I mean, it's up to you. It's not a big group.
And I think this is meant to be sort of a chat, not necessarily a presentation. It's
Yeah,
interactive.
right. It's a chat. I want everybody to join in. If you haven't gotten your airline reservations, and Lois is going to touch on that, please get me the information. And I do have 10 people's information. But what I need is the date that you arrive, the flight number, and the time that you arrive. And also your departure, the date that you're departing, your flight number, and the time. But most of you have already gotten that to you. One other thing I wanted to mention is the final payment is due September 1st. All right, and you go through WeTravel. Has everybody had good experiences with WeTravel?
WeTravel? I don't remember that it was that.
Okay, it's a website, and maybe you didn't notice the title or who ran it, but that is the website that you paid for your deposit initially. So
Will they give notice? when
Maybe you could send that again.
We're muted.
well, once you pay your deposit, WeTravel sends you like this confirmation that you've
Yeah.
paid via email.
Okay, I'll have to go look for it.
Go look for that confirmation, because if I send you the original website URL, you're going to be starting from square one. You
Okay.
want to make sure you use that URL that they sent you to pay your balance.
Okay, I'll go back and look.
Yeah, just go back and look in your that. All right, so let's see. It's 12:01, and okay, here's another person. And let's see. I know I have Tanya and Christine. Does anybody have any quick questions for me before we start with Lois?
No.
Are you excited? That's,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
excited to be going back to Japan.
Okay, so you've
Yeah.
been, how long ago was it since you were?
Our school's not lighting up.
20 years.
Oh, 20 years. Okay. Well, you're way ahead of me because I've never been. Has anybody else been? No?
No.
Okay, so we will all be experiences this together. I am very excited because every person I talk to who has been to Japan, when they come home, they say, oh my gosh, it is incredible. And all they want to do is go back. So that's why I really wanted to do a Japan trip. And even though it's centric on gardens, it's much more than gardens. We're going to see a ton of things that are associated with gardens, but really interesting things that have nothing to do with gardening. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Lois. And Lois, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think I should make it. Should I make you the host? I don't
No,
know.
we don't have to do that, I don't think.
Okay.
If everybody can hear me.
Mhm.
everybody-
Yes, we hear you fine.
So
Great.
I do want to introduce Lois. She does a lot of the trips for the Hardy Plant Society of Washington,
Oregon.
Oregon. Okay. She does so many trips and she's traveled all over the world, organizing trips, organizing itineraries. And I depend on her for a lot of things like I'm going to Barcelona next year. So I just asked her, where's good gardens to go in Barcelona? And she had a good answer and very precise and directed me exactly what I wanted to hear. So
I'd like to know that too.
okay. So
Who is the lady in the green shirt that's talking? Because it shows up as iPad on your thing, but I
Oh,
don't know.
actually, I'm Debbie Sheehan. This
Debbie
is
Sheehan.
actually this is my mom's iPad because I can't find mine.
Okay.
all right, so Lois, go ahead.
Debbie, if Claire's okay with it, I'll forward the email that I sent to Claire, because she's not going to use most of the email that I sent her about Barcelona.
Oh
That-
yeah, sure.
Yeah, my friend's son is going to go to school
Bring
there.
me a piece of paper, please.
So I'm trying to give them ideas. I was in Barcelona for the Olympics in 92 or 96, whenever it was.
Okay.
So,
Cool.
but they're going to spend a semester there. Two
That's
20-year-olds. And I know that they would be interested in anything you can help me with
Okay.
besides what I remember.
Great.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll forward you that. So I'm Lois Moss and I'm in Portland, and I've been doing tours for Hardy Plant Society of Oregon and for other organizations for about 8 years.
He's saying no sound.
Do you have it on mute?
Fine,
Oh,
we're fine.
no, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
Alan, do you need to join audio?
Can everybody hear Lois when she's
Yeah.
speaking?
Yes,
hear her.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like Alan can.
Alan can hear me probably, but he's maybe muted. Is that what you're looking at? Alan, can you hear?
I'm guessing not. And let me get in the chat and tell him to start his audio. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, he is muted.
Or turn up the volume?
Yeah, if it's
Alan?
on mute, you just need to push off mute.
Alan, can you hear us? Please wave if you can hear us. No. Okay. I'm going to write a sign.
Yeah.
Oh, say Anne is on mute and Shelley's on mute.
I can see Alan working at it.
Okay.
But
Should be okay.
that would mute his voice for us.
Can you hear?
It's all the way up. Okay, all right. That's a shame. Mhm.
Can you see that?
Sure.
Mhm.
Can you see that? Out. And
Bring the little speaker.
here.
Bring the little speaker.
Can you read that?
Oh, there you go.
Can you hear us? Oh, good. Okay.
Okay, fit. Great.
We have a little tiny speaker.
Teamwork. Okay, so I've been doing tours for 8 or 9 years. I'm trying to specialize because I want to go to so many places in the world. So I kind of specialize in the Pacific Northwest. Great. My husband is Japanese American. His grandparents came to the United States in the 1920s, and I've kind of been over the couple of years I wonder what Japan's like. His mom's 98 and she tells me all sorts of stories about growing up in San Francisco's Japantown. And so last year, maybe 18 months ago, I started thinking about going to Japan. I saw airfare for really cheap and I thought, well, I'm just going to go. Terry, my husband, wasn't interested in going. So I just went on my own and ended up being cherry blossom season of 2023. I loved it so much, just like Claire said, I loved it so much. I wanted to go back immediately. So I basically made my husband go in November of 2023. So I went twice. The first time was just to get the lay of the land and kind of get an idea of what it was like. The second time was specifically to fine tune a tour itinerary, which is the itinerary that you're going to be doing. I think I've visited all the gardens. Yeah, I have. I visited all the gardens. I visited all but the Tokyo Hotel, but I did walk around the neighborhood where the Tokyo Hotel is. I looked at 24 hotels in Tokyo on my November trip to make sure we were like finding a really nice hotel in a good neighborhood. And you might notice on my itinerary, there might be some gardens that you see on other people's itineraries that aren't on mine. And sometimes that's because I've gone to it and I'm like, this is not that good. Or it maybe was good in 1987, but it's not good now. So I won't say which garden is on most people's itineraries that's not on ours, but I into them. And getting around Japan is not as hard as you might think. There's a lot of signs that are in English. Oh, we've got somebody else coming in.
Yep, Christine just joined us.
Yes, hi. This is
Hi.
Christine Haddad. I'm Tanya's friend.
Okay.
So, are you Claire? Oh, no, I'm sorry. You are.
I'm Claire. I'm waving my hand. And
Yeah.
Lois is the lady who's talking right now. She's talking from Portland, and she is describing how she came up with this itinerary that we are going to be following in Japan.
And
Okay.
Christine, we're recording this. So after the meeting's done, you can see the first 10 minutes that we didn't really talk about much other than
No.
getting technology started for 10 minutes. But you can listen to the recording again because
Okay.
it on YouTube. Okay. So one of the things that I've kind of discovered in my tours lately, I've probably done 20 tours on my own, not on my own, for other groups. And I've also participated in maybe a half a dozen garden tours put on by other people.
Log in on your
And
computer.
I kind of have realized I
You
don't
log
like
into the Zoom on your
hotels.
computer.
Oops. Is that Marika?
No, that's Alan.
Alan.
It's not on mute. It's the mute.
She's on twice.
Maybe you do want to mute everybody, Claire, just for a little bit.
Okay,
Mute them.
everybody, can you mute for this part until we get to questions, maybe? Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. So anyway, where was I? Oh, for my tours, anything I'm doing going forward, I'm trying to stay in the same hotel multiple nights rather than changing hotels every 2 nights. I really would prefer to stay 4, 5, 6 nights in the same hotel and then do day trips from there. And I'm finding that most people would prefer to do that as well. And one of the benefits is if you need a down day or you need some independent time, you can do that. So you can take an afternoon off and do what you feel like doing when you're staying in the same hotel. When you're moving every 2 nights, it's harder to do that. So for this tour, we're staying.
Hit in and press 100 start.
We're staying 1 night in Tokyo, and that night is just to get yourself to Tokyo, have a relaxing day. And this particular hotel has a garden attached to it. And it's just a beautiful place to come in, relax, get yourself organized. And then the next morning we go to Kyoto. And then it's 6 nights in Kyoto, 1 night in the town of Hakone. And on that particular night, you're going to send your luggage on a transfer service, so you don't have your luggage with you. And you just have an overnight bag in the 1 night in Hakone. Your luggage will be there when we get to Tokyo, and then 4 nights in Tokyo. Also on this tour, when I was kind of observing things in Japan, Japan's a very quiet country. People are very respectful and reserved and quiet. So to have a guide talking loudly to a group would be frowned upon. So we've split it into 2 smaller groups. Each of those 2 smaller groups will have a Japanese guide with them. So an English speaking Japanese person. And then Claire will be at the back. And in the Tokyo portion of the tour, I'll be in the back. So I'm doing this exact same itinerary with a different group 4 days ahead of your group. So my first group will have gone home, which means I can be with you in Tokyo. That'll make sense so far? Okay, and I'm so looking forward to it. Let's see, what else did I have on here? I've interviewed the Japanese guides to make sure that their English is understandable. And we have a Japanese tour company helping us do some of the details. So she interviewed all the guides first, and then she had us do Zoom calls with them to make sure that they're understandable. Their English is like, I have no Japanese other than arigato, which is thank you, that's about it. Their English is way better than my Japanese, but sometimes Japanese speakers still have an accent, but these people, they're all women. So we have women guides, 2 for each group in each city. Okay, that all makes sense so far?
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, and we're also going to use audio thingies so that the guides don't have to shout. And does anybody in the group wear hearing aids? Okay, because there's usually a fair number of people. On the Barcelona, Spain tour I just did, they had a different ear system for people with hearing aids rather than the in your ear thing. So I'll make sure that we have plenty of it was kind of a headband thing instead of a in your ear thing. So the guides can talk in a normal voice and you can hear them as you're walking someplace together. Okay, so far so good. Okay, let's see. So we got our guides. Getting around, the tool that I've really started using a lot to figure out how to get from point A to point B is YouTube. There's so many people who have put just content on how to get somewhere. So, and it's not necessarily like a Rick Steves video. You can watch those. There's usually pretty good too. Well, he doesn't do Japan usually, but you can watch the professionally done videos about touring in a company. But if you're a little concerned about getting from Haneda Airport to Shinagawa Station, if you type into YouTube getting from Haneda Airport to Shinagawa Station, somebody's probably done a YouTube that shows exactly what it looks like. I've done a video of getting from Shinagawa Station to our first hotel. I haven't loaded it up there yet, but at some point I'll edit it all down and load it up. So you can visually see how easy it is to get from that station to the hotel. And that's the reason I chose that hotel, because it's easy to get from both airports to Shinagawa Station. And then you could easily walk from Shinagawa Station to the hotel, but there's also a taxi stand right there if you wanted to take a taxi from the station to the hotel.
Mhm.
Don't take a taxi from the airport to the hotel. It's, well, unless you could, but it's gonna cost,
Why?
yeah, it'll probably cost over $100. It'll take you longer.
Okay,
Yeah, just take the public transit in Japan is amazing. It's really good. It's really easy. And it's really cheap. So, I highly recommend not taking a taxi from either of the airports to the hotel. We can put all this in emails too. You don't have to remember it. So we'll
Yeah.
have,
so Lois, I will send them a link to a YouTube for that particular thing from the airport to the hotel, okay?
Yeah. yeah. And I've been sending my group that's going to be a little ahead of yours I haven't started too much. We're having a Zoom in 3 days. I've sent them a few emails with things that Claire can forward to you guys. So I'll send what I've sent to Claire and she can kind of copy paste
Mhm.
what makes sense for her group. Let's see. We only recently finally figured out the hotel for the 4 nights in Tokyo. And it's going to be called the Grand Bach Ginza. It's a very nice hotel. And this one took us quite a long time to find because November is actually busy season in Tokyo, or in Japan because of the maples. The maples are turning. So November and cherry blossom season are both busy. But this hotel is gonna be amazing.
It looks amazing.
Yeah. It took us a long time to track that one down. And because I walked around so much of Tokyo, like we could have found another hotel that would have taken our group a long time ago, but it's like, no, I don't want to stay there. I didn't like that one for this particular reason or for that particular reason. So I was being pretty picky. So we did find one that looks amazing. Money, they do use credit cards frequently, but there are also a number of times that you're going to need cash. You can get cash from your bank or from AAA or something ahead of time, but it's also pretty easy to get cash from, believe it or not, 7-Elevens. So they have convenience stores, 7-Eleven and what's the other one called? There's another one that are open 24 hours a day, and they have ATM machines inside those places you can get cash. They also can get cash at post offices. And the first day of our tour, when we're in Kyoto, we're going to have a couple of hour get familiar with the area around our hotel and Kyoto Station. And part of that is going to be going to a post office and a convenience store to show you how to get cash, and to show you convenience stores, because convenience stores there are a whole thing. They're amazing. You can eat, like I basically, on my first trip when I was by myself, I ate pretty much always from a convenience store because their food there is really fresh. Salads. I know it sounds weird. It's not like the rolling hot dogs that we have at our convenience. So that's going to be part of our first day, is doing a walking tour with the guides. So you get familiar with the area around the hotel and some key things like how to get money. So long as you have an ATM card that'll work internationally, you should be able to get money in Japan
Mhm.
as part of the tour. Let's see. I've been listening to lots of audiobooks, just to get myself sort of in the headspace of the Japanese culture because it is different. Like I said, it's quiet. It's really quiet place. People walk a lot. You almost never see babies in strollers, which is fascinating to me. The little toddler kids walk, old people walk, babies, if they're able to walk, walk with somebody being held by the hand. So it's a definitely a walkable place. Although there are quite a few stairs, they don't have the same ADA rules that we do. So there'll be places where there might not be an elevator. In the United States, there would always be an elevator, thinking of people with wheelchairs and things. But in Japan, sometimes you'll find places where there's only stairs. So if you're not used to stairs, maybe you want to put some time in the next couple of months getting some walking up and down stairs. Don't think we're gonna have, they actually do sit on the floor, like you see sometimes where people are sitting on the floor without furniture. But I don't think we have any time, like a tea ceremony or something like that. I don't think we have anything that you would have to sit on a floor. I tried to choose restaurants where they would have Western seating instead of Japanese seating on the floor. Because that's hard to get up from. Sometimes you can get down, but you got to roll over to get up. Our hotels all have Western beds, because you still can get hotels in Japan that you're sleeping on the floor on futons and tatami mats, but we'll be in Western beds. What else? I think that's, oh, airfare. Airfare. If anybody hasn't booked airfare yet, there's an airline that's a subsidiary of Japan Air that's called Zip Air, so ZIP, Zip Air. And they haven't released their November schedule yet, but it should be coming out within the next 2 weeks. And Zip Air is a low-cost a la carte airline. And I flew it last year when I went, and it was fine. It's more comfortable than some of the low budget ones I've been on. But the kind of benefit of Zip Air, if you're thinking of doing a lie flat seat, so a seat that turns into a bed, their lie flat seats are very inexpensive compared to other airlines.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so if you haven't booked your airfare yet, keep checking Zip Air. I'm looking at it every single morning because they're supposed to release their November schedules any day now, and maybe do a lie flat seat. It'll be, yeah, that's the way to go if you can do it. And what I'm doing on the way over, and this might be something you want to do, is I'm flying from North America to Hawaii, and then from Hawaii to Tokyo. And that was on, for me, from Hawaiian Airlines, it was just one flight for me to go from Portland to Honolulu, and then Honolulu to Tokyo. So maybe break it up like that. I have friends that are coming from Cleveland that are doing Cleveland to San Francisco, staying over a night in San Francisco, and then San Francisco to Tokyo. So maybe break it up that way too, if you're thinking of, if you haven't done your airfare yet. What questions do you have? Anybody have questions? Oh, I just thought of one more thing.
How about
You
food? Food.
Oh, food. So we have a mixture of food choices. They have Western food. Lots of rice. They do a lot of seafood. I would say watch some YouTube videos about Japanese food. And that was something, my first trip when I was just by myself, I was really intimidated by the food. So I ate mostly out of 7-Elevens. It's super cheap to do that too, but it's like easy. On the second trip, I was with two people who are vegetarian, who were strict vegetarians. So I wouldn't say I'm the expert on food yet. I'd say watch some YouTubes and see what the YouTubes say. Because I don't think I've experienced the Japanese food as much as I could, but we'll be with guides too that will be able to help point us in the right direction. Does anybody have food issues? Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I was going to say, if you're ready for questions, we have, I guess, a multi-part question about arrival. So the first aspect of that is we're coming in a day early,
Mhm.
and we'd like to have an extra night at the hotel without changing a room. Is there a way to set that up?
Yeah, yeah. Claire's already told me about some of the people that are doing that. Let me see if I can find my schedule.
Yeah,
Who do I have for that one?
yeah, there's a couple people who are coming in early and staying extra nights. I have Mary Ann Street, Shelley Johnson. Let's see, Christine. 2 nights ahead of time. Helen Hovland, Alan Hovland, Marika, John, and let's see, Darlene Flemmer,
Cristina Antonio.
Christine.
Antonio.
Let me see. I have her for 2 nights ahead of time. Is that correct?
Yes, we're arriving together.
We are not
Yeah.
available at the present time. Please leave your name and telephone number and
So the answer to that question is yes, the tour company, and the official tour company on this is Pathfinders. So Pathfinders is a tour company that Claire's used on European tours, and they're doing this. This is their tour officially, but they're contracting with the hotel for the first Tokyo hotel, so they can get you extra room nights, and you don't have to change rooms. Yes.
Okay, great. And then the other aspect of that is that when we do arrive, in cases of needing yen, you're saying we should pick that up before we come into the country, maybe from our local bank here.
You can. So I
Yeah.
bank with US Bank, and they have a newish service that you can order foreign currency and it gets delivered to my branch. So I usually do that just to get something to get me started. Their
Makes
exchange
sense.
rate is reasonable. It's not the cheapest exchange rate, but it's reasonable. It was super convenient.
Yeah.
And you can get it from AAA too, probably the same way.
Okay. And then I guess the other aspect of that question is, it says that you guys are covering the cost of our transfer from the airport to the hotel. How do we set that up since is out connected? Well, I don't know, how's that work?
We usually do, I don't remember if we did that on this one. We usually do getting from the hotel to the airport at the end.
Yeah.
It said both ways on the
Itinerary.
itinerary.
Is it? Okay.
Okay. I'll have to look at that. And I will have to find out about that.
And we weren't expecting anybody holding a sign
Okay,
saying,
airport transfers via train from and to either Tokyo Airport or Narita. So that would be from the Tokyo Airport to the hotel. Let's see. Via train from and to. So I'll have to address that. I have to find that out. Okay.
all right, good.
Mhm. And I have a question too, Claire. The last time we did a trip I did a trip with you to
Yeah.
England. You had everybody join WhatsApp so that way we had that type of immediate communication. Are
Yeah.
you going to be doing that again?
I do texting, yes. And I just use regular text now.
Okay.
Because WhatsApp had some security concerns, and a lot of people, they just didn't know how to go on WhatsApp. And I said, well, I'm just going to do regular texting because it's so much easier. And what I do, as soon as we get there, I set up a group text with everybody's phone number, and I tell you what time you're supposed to be at the meeting point the next morning. I'll give you like, oh, I was at this restaurant. It had excellent food. So give you like tips like that. So I always do that. And let's talk about phone service.
Good.
Wi-Fi is usually available. I mean, it's always available in hotels. I don't think our bus will have it available, but I'm going to get a portable Wi-Fi, and pick it up at the airport and you reserve it and you just, I forget how much it costs, but it's cheaper than depending on the Wi-Fi at each hotel. So I'll send you that information about the portable Wi-Fi. My daughter, who's much more techno savvy, suggested this. She's already reserved it. And she says, Mom, you got to do this. So I will be sending that out. How to do it, where to pick it up, all those particulars about Wi-Fi.
And
Very
that's
good.
the best way to do it. Yep.
So I'd rather do that than pay the international calling plan, which I really depend on when I go to Europe. But I will address that for you. Okay.
Yep. Excellent. What else? Other
I
questions?
have a question. How much do you think we need to get in cash with us if we choose to get the cash from the US? And the other question, clothes. What will the weather be like at this time of the year?
It should be mostly dry, and it should be in the maybe 60s. November is actually drier than June in Japan. So the 60s-ish, and clothes, just wear what you normally wear, like casual clothes are fine. In Tokyo, you'll see lots of men in suits, but they just wear regular normal clothes. I would say pack lightly. Don't pack a full-size suitcase. If you can get by in a carry-on sized, people will look at you like, okay, this person knows what they're doing. If you come with a jumbo steamer trunk thing, they will look like, what is your problem that you need that much clothing? Oh, here's actually a good tip. I think all the hotels we are staying at have washer dryers. And in the Kyoto hotel, the washers and dryers are free and they include soap. And
Wow.
so you don't need to pack a gazillion outfits. If you take like 3 pairs of slacks, you can do your laundry at the Kyoto hotel. And I think the Tokyo hotel does as well. So anyway, you don't need to pack a ton of stuff. Pack lightly.
Mhm. Right.
Shoes, on our first hotel, your shoes come off before you step into the lobby. So make sure you have shoes that you can get in and out of. And we're also going to something called the Open Air Museum, that is where they've moved historic buildings. And that place, you also take your shoes off before you walk into the building. So have shoes that you can get in and out of easily enough, because you do that a fair amount of times.
Where do you leave your shoes?
So they have little lockers.
Oh,
So
okay.
before you step from the sidewalk into the official lobby, there'll be a place that you kind of sit down and take your shoes off, and then you put them in the little locker. And this hotel, I don't know how I stumbled on this hotel for my first trip, but it's probably my favorite hotel I've ever stayed at. You take your shoes off, and then most of the hotels there, they give you little, like what we think as pajamas. And people wear those around the hotel. So the movie WALL-E, you know, the movie
Yeah.
WALL-E, everybody's wearing,
Oh, yeah, right.
everybody runs around in the same little outfit like that. And it's so freaking charming. So, and the first hotel in Kyoto, they have what's called an onsen, which is the hot baths that are separated, men and women, and you go naked. And I was kind of nervous the first time that I was like, I go naked in front of a whole bunch of other people. And somebody who was staying at the hotel that we were chatting about it, she's like, let it go. Let it go. And so now I'm able to go naked and it doesn't matter. But this particular hotel has onsen with, I think, 8 different stations. So you can have the cool dip, or this spring or that spring. So the first hotel in Kyoto is fabulous. They have all kinds of free snacks and treats and noodles at 9 o'clock, and breakfast buffet that is crazy. So anyway, I'm excited to go back.
Which hotel is it? The first one?
It's in Kyoto. So the first one
Oh,
in
Kyoto, okay.
the first one in Tokyo has a garden and it's just a nice, relaxed hotel.
Mhm.
And then the second hotel in Kyoto, we're there 6 nights. And it's probably my favorite hotel I've ever stayed at in the whole world.
Really?
I think
Whoa.
so.
Okay.
I loved it. I've stayed there twice and I loved it both times.
I'm coming in 4 days ahead of time. I'm gonna be staying in Shibuya. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, at
Yeah.
a different hotel in Tokyo.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm flying in with my daughter, but I will see you all the very first night that we're getting together.
Okay.
So I will get you information about that hotspot that you can pick up at the airport for phone calls and Wi-Fi. I do a lot of photos. I'm a big photographer of everything. So don't be startled when I take photos of you doing something, looking at a flower or whatever. And when I come home, I put that all into a catalog of Google Photos with, it's a day by day kind of thing. And I'll share it with you. And we'll have lots of people pictures, lots of garden pictures, and wherever we went. And then you can share that with anybody else, friends and family, so they can see what you did. Okay, any other questions?
Excuse me, I have a question regarding the hotel that for the people who are coming 2 nights ahead of the group arrival. So you're going to be in a different hotel for the first 4 nights, right? And you're going to reserve in the same hotels where we're supposed to be the first night for the other people who are arriving like 2 days before?
Yes, if you ask me to reserve like you're coming in early to reserve the hotel, yes, I would have put it. And I'm going to send you this spreadsheet of everybody's flight information if they've requested prior nights, so you can look at it and tell me if everything is correct. But yeah, if you have asked me that, let me see, for Christine, I have you coming 2 nights ahead of time, arriving on 11/5. Is that correct?
I believe so. I did it quite a while ago.
Yeah, okay. So I have you down for 2 prior nights. But I will send this out to everybody so they can verify it with me.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. And the amount of the money that you think we should bring with us, I didn't know. I didn't think you answered me on that question.
I would say bring maybe $200 with you in whatever equivalent yen that is. Food is actually fairly reasonably priced in Japan. And you can do credit cards at most restaurants. So I would start with maybe $200-300 worth of yen, and that might be enough to get you through the whole trip. The people that I went with in November, I asked, when we were all done, what did you think? What was the most surprising thing? And they're like, okay, we can't get over how inexpensive food is here because we had read that it was really expensive and it wasn't. So
How about tipping?
they do not tip. They do not tip, and that is a real thing. They don't, because people apparently get paid a wage that they don't expect tips. And it's not something they do.
I have a question on bus. Claire mentioned bus. When are we using a bus?
Only on a couple of days. We're doing a lot of public transit because the public transit's so easy. Not public transit, but trains. So we're taking train from Tokyo to Kyoto. It's the bullet train, and it's fabulous to do. So on the itinerary, it kind of says which days we're doing buses, and I can send that in an email too, if you're not sure.
I read the itinerary. I don't remember seeing bus.
Okay, I can summarize it so that it's more obvious. So sometimes it's faster to take the subway than it would be to take a bus. So we kind of weighed that with the Japanese person who lives in Tokyo. And there's times when she said, you don't want to do a bus this day because it will actually take you longer and it'll be more annoying than if you just walk a block and get on the subway.
Mhm.
But I can send you bus by day.
Could I ask a question about Tokyo?
Mhm.
The last 4 days in Tokyo, do we have like an itinerary? Or are we all on our own every day?
Oh, no,
I'm
no,
not
no, no.
sure.
Yeah, we totally have an itinerary. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
I
last 4
wasn't
days.
clear.
And that's actually a good point to segue into too. On my tours, I usually have a fairly detailed time itinerary of when to be where. And
Mhm.
so it's not all loosey-goosey. And I've been with other tours where they don't like to disclose the time. And maybe Claire and I should talk about this before, because this is different between Bruce and I. He doesn't like to disclose ahead of time when to be where. And I like to
No.
have it spelled out so people know.
I will give you a very detailed time itinerary, like when we depart from the hotel, how many hours we will have at a particular attraction.
Good.
It is very detailed. Somebody has looked at this and figured it out, and I will get that to you about a couple weeks ahead of our departure.
Yeah. That way too, if
Okay.
somebody wants to take an independent afternoon or independent morning, they know where to meet the group later.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you decide, oh, today they're going to something I'm really not interested in going to, that is totally up to you. You're on your own. As long as you're where you need to be the next morning, if you want to go depart with us to the next hotel or attraction. And
Okay.
I've had people do that.
If we have questions on flights, can we email Lois and ask?
Yeah, definitely.
What is your email?
My email is kind of long, but if you think about it, it's tour to explore more at Gmail. So TOUR, the number 2, explore more at gmail.com.
Thanks.
Happy to
And
help. Some
I-
people do video games and I do travel research. I love doing travel research.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the itinerary. For example, day 10, Saturday, November 16th, it says this morning we take a chartered coach about 45 minutes west to the Edo Tokyo Open Air Museum. So it tells you exactly what kind of transportation we will be taking on that particular day.
Yeah, I can still make up a real easy one to send to
Mhm.
everybody, or I can send it to Claire and she can send it to everybody.
Yeah,
Like
and I'll send it on.
yeah.
And what I remember from the England trip was that we all watched out for each other. There was one guy in particular that tended to, kind of wander off, and we made sure that he was on the bus with his luggage before anybody, started the engine. So that kind of just happens, at least on that tour anyway. That was my
Yeah.
experience of one time. But nonetheless, I mean, since we coalesce kind of as a group, we sort of start kind of keeping an eye out for each other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing, Carol. And that is one of my favorite travel memories from a tour I did in Portugal. There was somebody who was clearly maybe not all quite there. And the group melded around her. I didn't have to say a word and they didn't say, you take care of her, you're the guide. They just kind of like, we're going to make sure she's okay. So I love that. That's
Oh, wow.
the thing. Anybody else?
Hey. Wow. Well, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to this trip
Me too.
and
Mhm.
meeting everybody and seeing some old friends as well.
Oh, I
Did
have
anybody-
I have one more question. What are some useful phrases we should study?
Oh,
Thank you.
actually, I can tell you, I'm going to send you a YouTube
Yeah.
on elementary phrases of commonly said things like, "Where's the bathroom?" And you can look at that and it will really, really help you. You should have a few phrases, but Lois, in Tokyo, can you tell me, do most people speak English?
So most people who are under maybe 40 years old do.
Okay.
The older people aren't going to necessarily. But sometimes that, on Google Translate on your phone, I had a conversation with an elderly lady on Google Translate, and we just had a wonderful time communicating that way.
Okay.
Yeah. There
Hey,
are,
we lost our internet there. Did anybody talk about clothing? What not to wear, what's okay to wear, anything like that, or we lost our connection. So I don't know.
You can wear pretty much anything. It's a pretty homogenous society, so I wouldn't wear lots of loud colors and everything, but you can wear whatever's comfortable. Comfortable shoes are going to be very important. So comfortable shoes that
Okay.
you get in and out of are probably the most important thing.
I always say layers.
Layers.
Whenever I travel, especially I just got back from Ireland. It was cold, and I was so glad that I had all these layers to take on and off.
Yeah, definitely layers. Hmm.
What's the temperature that we should expect, like 50s or in
I think
November?
about 60s. I'll do a little
Six-
research on that and send it out because you can find the historic weather, but I think it's more like
Yeah.
60.
Okay, that's all.
Okay. Anything else? Do you think we need another Zoom, or is this answering your questions? And we have a lot of follow-up emails that will be coming from this.
Mhm.
But this was Lois's idea to do a Zoom, and I said, I've never done it for any trip, but I think it's a great idea. And plus you get to meet some of your fellow travelers as well.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
meet me. A lot of people, they just hear from me, email, what is your flight number? But now you're meeting me in person and seeing that it's, I love to travel just like Lois. And we want you to have a good time and a
Right.
good experience.
And I do try to under promise and over perform. So I go above and beyond what you might be expecting. And I know Claire does too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, this meeting was really great, and I think maybe if everybody has the time for just another one closer to our departure, just to, if we have other questions that will pop up at the end, in a few months, that could help too.
Okay.
My opinion. I don't know what about the rest. So
Sure.
and it was nice to see you too, everybody. I'm sorry I wasn't able to how to show my my face. I had to click on my phone instead of my iPad or desktop. So I'm limited. I don't know. I'm not that great. I'm not savvy with this stuff. So, like you, Claire.
Oh,
So
no,
probably you're
no.
better than me.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not that tech savvy. Really. I just learned about this hotspot from my daughter and I was like, oh, what a great idea. And I'm gonna get one for when I travel to Seattle. I just looked up weather for November in Tokyo, 63 at night, 72 during the day.
Yeah, that sounds real nice.
That's
Yeah,
very delightful, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. And it's the driest month, right, Lois? The
Yeah, it's
driest
just the
month.
driest month. Yeah. Mhm. It's weird. Yeah, you think it would be colder and maybe wetter, but that's our weather, not their weather.
Will there be much difference in weather between Tokyo and as far south as we get?
Not that I experienced. Both times I was there, Tokyo and Kyoto were about the same weather. they're not that far apart. Well, they're far apart, but yeah, the weather-wise was about the same.
All right, well,
Very
I
good.
think we're gonna wrap it up. And Lois, I can't thank you enough for taking time and talking to all of us. And we will see Lois on the trip.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I think you see me in Kyoto because my group is leaving Kyoto when you're arriving, I think. Yeah, we're there one night at the same time. And then
Okay.
you'll definitely see me in Tokyo because I'm going to tag along with your group in Tokyo.
Okay.
Hey.
All right, goodbye, everybody. It was great seeing you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
All right,
See ya.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye, thanks.
What time is it? 1. It lasts an hour.
Yeah, I thought that would be it.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Hey. Okay, that was
Woo.
great. Thank you so much, Lois.
Yeah, that went well.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good idea to do this.
Stop recording.
Stop recording.
Yeah,
Okay.
if you were recording, you ought to stop it now.
Okay, I am
So
going
you can have your
to,
purse.
yeah,
It's all been recorded.
notes. Recording.
I know. I should have Terry come in so you can